I want to tell you something beautiful, something simple, and something that can completely change the way you move through life. You can trust yourself. You can trust your mind, your heart, your timing, your instincts. You can trust that life is working with you, not against you. And when you live from that place of trust, everything begins to flow. Opportunities appear, doors open, people show up, and life feels lighter. Now we live in a society that has taught us the opposite. We've been told, push harder, try more, don't stop, work until you collapse. And yes, effort is important, but there is something even more powerful than effort. It is trust, because effort without trust often turns into struggle, into fear, into exhaustion. But trust, real, deep trust in yourself and in life, creates a foundation where even the smallest action becomes powerful, meaningful, aligned. Think about it. When you do not trust yourself, what happens? Every choice feels heavy. Every decision is second-guessed. You start projects and abandon them. You hold back your voice. You compare yourself to others. You live in fear of making a mistake. But when you trust yourself, you begin to feel grounded. You feel safe in your own skin. You know that whatever happens, you will handle it. You know that life will guide you. And from that space, you move forward with confidence, with peace, with ease. To trust life is to trust yourself, and to trust yourself is to trust life. These two cannot be separated. Life and you are not strangers. You are not an outsider trying to win over the universe. You are part of the universe. You are life itself expressing in human form. So when you trust yourself, you are really trusting life. And when you trust life, you are really trusting yourself. I want you to reflect for a moment. How many times in your life have you doubted yourself, only to realize later that your first instinct was right? How many times have you ignored that small inner whisper and then thought, I knew it, I should have listened? That whisper inside of you, that gentle nudge, that intuitive knowing, that is your inner guidance. It is your connection to the wisdom of life. And when you begin to honor it, when you begin to trust it, your whole world begins to shift. Now some of you may say, Louise, I've made mistakes. How can I trust myself after all the wrong choices I've made? And I say to you, mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones. They are lessons. Every so-called mistake was simply a decision made with the awareness you had at the time, and you learned from it. You grew from it. So instead of punishing yourself, can you look back with compassion and say, I did the best I could, and I trust myself to do even better now? Trust is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the way you strengthen it is by starting small. Each time you honor your inner guidance, each time you make a choice from a place of peace instead of fear, each time you say, I trust myself, you are reinforcing that muscle. And soon it becomes natural. I want to invite you into a little practice. Place your hand gently on your heart right now and say softly, I trust myself, and life always supports me. Say it again. I trust myself, and life always supports me. Feel those words vibrate in your chest. Feel how your body responds. Maybe you feel a softening, maybe a warmth, maybe even tears. That is your soul recognizing the truth. Trust does not mean you know every detail of the future. Trust does not mean you never feel afraid. Trust means you are willing to move forward even when you can't see the whole path. Trust means you believe that life will meet you, step by step, with what you need. Trust is leaning into the unknown and knowing you will not fall. Imagine a child learning to walk. If the child thought, "What if I fall? What if I look silly? What if people laugh?" they would never take the first step. But instead, the child trusts. They wobble, they stumble, they fall, and they rise again. And soon, they are running. This is how we must learn to trust ourselves. Not with perfection, but with willingness. I often say that the point of power is always in the present moment. And in this present moment, you can choose trust. You can choose to say, "I don't have all the answers, but I trust myself to learn. I don't know how it will all work out, but I trust life to guide me." And that choice alone changes the energy. It turns fear into courage, doubt into faith, struggle into flow. Trust also means trusting the timing of your life. We live in a world that pressures us to rush, to achieve by a certain age, to compare ourselves to everyone else. But life has perfect timing, and your path is not meant to look like anyone else's. When you trust yourself, you stop racing against others. You stop forcing what is not ready. You relax into your own rhythm. You know that what is meant for you will not pass you by. So let us affirm this together. I trust myself. I trust life. I trust the timing of my journey. Say it with me. Let it sink into your bones, because every time you affirm it, you are reprogramming your subconscious to support you, to guide you, to align you with the flow of life. I want to remind you, too, that trust is not about sitting back and doing nothing. Trust is active. Trust is taking inspired action. Trust is listening to your intuition and then following through. Trust is speaking kindly to yourself when the old fears arise. Trust is choosing to believe that you are capable, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Every great dream begins with trust. The trust to take the first step. The trust to keep going when the road feels uncertain. The trust to know that your desires were given to you for a reason, and life will support you in fulfilling them. So, my dear, today I invite you to lean into trust. Trust that you are guided. Trust that you are safe. Trust that you are enough. And most of all, trust that life loves you. Because when you do, you will find yourself moving in harmony with the rhythm of the universe. You will discover that the doors you once thought were closed begin to open. You will see that what once felt impossible becomes possible, and you will know, deep in your soul, that you are exactly where you need to be. Let us close this lesson with one final affirmation. Place your hand on your heart again and say slowly, "I trust myself, and life always supports me." Breathe it in. Let it fill you. Let it anchor you. And remember, trust is the foundation upon which everything else is built. And now that you understand the value of trust, we are ready to go even deeper. Because once you trust yourself, you can begin to dream bigger, to step into possibilities that once seemed out of reach. There is something I have noticed in so many of the people I have worked with, and perhaps you will recognize this in yourself too. We live in a culture that glorifies effort, struggle, pushing, proving. So often I hear, "If I just try harder, if I just do more, maybe then I will feel safe, maybe then I will feel worthy, maybe then people will love me." And yet, what I want you to know is this: over-efforting is often a sign of distrust. It usually means we don't trust our intuition, we don't trust the timing of life, and we don't trust that we are already enough. So we keep trying to earn what is already ours. Think about how exhausting that is. Imagine running on a treadmill that never stops. You push and push, but no matter how fast you run, you don't arrive. That is what over-efforting feels like. It is the belief that if you just do a little more, then maybe you'll finally be good enough. But my dear, you were already good enough the day you were born. You don't need to prove your worthiness. You don't need to exhaust yourself to be loved. Life does not ask you to be perfect. Life simply asks you to be present. Now, I am not saying effort is bad. Action is important. Dreams require movement. But there is a difference between effort that flows from trust and effort that comes from fear. When you trust yourself, when you trust life, your actions feel aligned, balanced, joyful. They come from inspiration, not desperation. But when you do not trust, your actions feel forced, frantic, heavy. You are trying to control the outcome instead of letting life work with you. I want you to reflect right now. Where in your life are you over-efforting? Is it in your work, where you feel you must always do more to prove your value? Is it in your relationships, where you believe you must bend and twist yourself to be accepted? Is it in your finances, where you never rest because you fear there will never be enough? If you recognize yourself in this, I want you to pause and ask, am I forcing or am I trusting? That one question can change everything. Let me give you an image. Picture yourself holding a flower bud in your hand. You want so badly for it to bloom, so you start pulling at the petals, forcing them open. What happens? You damage the flower. You ruin its natural unfolding. But if you trust, if you water it, give it light, give it time, it will bloom in its perfect season. The same is true of your life. You cannot force your timing. You cannot rush your healing. You cannot make the universe hurry. You can only trust that when the moment is right, everything will unfold beautifully. This brings us to the next lesson, the difference between control and trust. For many of us, control has become a survival strategy. We think, if I control every detail, then nothing will go wrong. If I plan everything, then I'll be safe. But the truth is, control often creates more fear, not less. It makes us rigid, tense, anxious. It keeps us awake at night. And here's the irony. The more we try to control, the more life reminds us that we are not in control. The unexpected happens anyway. Trust, on the other hand, is soft. Trust allows you to breathe. Trust says, I do not need to know every step. I only need to take the next one. Trust reminds you that you are not alone, that there is a greater wisdom guiding you. Trust allows you to move through life with grace instead of forcing, instead of fighting. Let me ask you something. How does it feel in your body when you are trying to control everything? Tight, heavy, drained? And how does it feel when you let go, when you trust that things will work out? Lighter, calmer, more open? Your body always tells you the truth. If you are feeling anxious and exhausted, you are probably trying to control. If you are feeling peaceful and supported, you are probably trusting. Now I know that letting go is not always easy. Many of us grew up in households or societies where control felt necessary. Perhaps you learned as a child that you had to be perfect to be safe, or that you had to predict everyone else's moods to avoid pain. So control became your armor. But my love, that armor is heavy, and it is no longer serving you. There is another way to live, a way of trust, a way of openness, a way of grace. Here's a practice for you. The next time you feel yourself tightening, planning every detail, trying to force life to bend to your will, I want you to stop. Take a deep breath. Place your hand on your heart and say, I let go, and I trust the perfect timing of life. Feel the relief in those words. Feel the softness, because letting go is not giving up. Letting go is giving over. It is saying, I am willing to allow the universe to support me. And in that allowing, miracles happen. I once heard someone describe trust like floating in water. When you tense up, when you fight, when you try to hold yourself up, you sink. But when you relax, when you trust the water, it holds you. Life is like that water. The more you trust, the more you are carried. The more you let go, the more you float. You do not have to live in constant control. You do not have to exhaust yourself with over-efforting. You do not have to prove your worth. You are worthy right now exactly as you are, and when you live from that place of trust, life becomes so much sweeter. So I invite you to affirm with me, I let go of forcing. I choose trusting. I let go of control. I open to guidance. I trust myself. I trust life. Say it again, not just with your mind, but with your whole being. Because each time you affirm it, you are planting new seeds in your subconscious. Seeds of peace, seeds of ease, seeds of faith. Have you ever asked yourself deep inside, am I really enough just as I am? It's a question that echoes quietly in so many hearts, and for far too many people, the answer they hear inside is no. Society has taught us again and again that our worth depends on what we achieve, how much money we make, how we look, what others think of us. From the time we are children, we are measured, compared, graded, told to do more, be more, prove more. And little by little, we begin to forget the most essential truth of all. You are worthy simply because you exist. I want you to take that in right now. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to earn your right to breathe, your right to love, your right to be loved. Life itself has already approved you. You are enough right here, right now. The only thing that has ever stood in the way of this truth is the belief that you are not. Let me share with you something I often say. When a baby is born, do you look at that tiny being and think, oh, you'll be worthy once you learn to read, once you get a job, once you buy a house? Of course not. You look at a baby and see pure worth, pure innocence, pure love. That worth has never left you. You may have covered it up with doubt, with guilt, with shame, with years of criticism, but underneath, your worthiness is untouched. It is like the sun behind the clouds. The clouds may pass, but the sun has never stopped shining. When you begin to remember your worth, everything changes. Relationships shift because you no longer accept mistreatment. Work shifts because you no longer settle for less than what honors your gifts. Health shifts because you no longer punish your body. Prosperity shifts because you finally believe you deserve abundance. And most of all, your relationship with yourself shifts. The harsh voice of self-criticism begins to soften, and in its place, you hear compassion, kindness, love. Here is an affirmation I want you to say with me. I am enough. I am worthy now. Say it again, and notice if part of you resists. If you hear a little voice inside say, no, not yet. Not until I fix this. Not until I earn that. That's okay. That's just an old belief speaking. With practice, with repetition, you can teach your mind a new truth. Each time you affirm your worthiness, you are planting seeds. And in time, those seeds will grow into a life that reflects your true value. Now, once you begin to remember your worth, you also begin to hear something very beautiful. Your inner guidance. You see, every one of us has a voice within. Some call it intuition, some call it inner wisdom, some call it divine guidance. Whatever name you use, it is always there. It is that gentle knowing in your heart that whispers, "This feels right," or "This doesn't feel safe." Shh. It is the sense of ease that comes when you are on the right path, and the sense of tightness when you are not. The problem is that most of us have been taught to ignore that voice. We are told to listen to authority, to follow the rules, to do what others expect. We are told to silence our feelings and override our instincts. And after years of this, we begin to doubt ourselves. We begin to think, "I can't trust my own judgment. I can't rely on myself." And so we look outward for answers, when all along the deepest wisdom was waiting inside. I want you to know this. Your intuition is the language of life speaking through you. It is not random. It is not foolish. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and the infinite intelligence of the universe. When you listen to it, you are aligning yourself with that intelligence. Think of a time in your life when you ignored your gut feeling. Maybe you took a job that didn't feel right, or stayed in a relationship you knew was wrong, or said yes when you wanted to say no. How did it turn out? Most likely you paid a price for ignoring your inner wisdom. And now think of a time when you trusted your intuition, even if it didn't make sense logically. Maybe you changed direction suddenly, or made a bold choice, or followed a hunch, and somehow doors opened. Things worked out. You felt guided. That is the power of intuition. So how do we begin to trust ourselves again? It starts with listening. The next time you face a decision, instead of running to everyone else for advice, pause. Place your hand on your heart. Take a breath and ask, "What does my inner wisdom say?" Then listen. Don't try to force an answer. Don't judge what comes. Sometimes the guidance is clear right away. Sometimes it comes as a gentle feeling, or as a quiet knowing that grows stronger over time. But it will come. It always does. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember this. Your intuition is not separate from life. It is not separate from God, from spirit, from the universe. It is the same intelligence that makes the sun rise, that makes your heart beat, that keeps you alive every single moment. Why wouldn't you trust that? Why wouldn't you trust the very force that sustains you? I want you to affirm with me, "I trust my inner voice. It always guides me right." Say it softly. Say it with love. Say it until you feel a little lighter, a little safer, a little more at home in yourself. Because the truth is, when you combine the remembrance of your worth with the guidance of your intuition, you become unstoppable. You no longer live as a victim of circumstance. You live as a co-creator with life. So let us bring these lessons together. You are worthy because you exist. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to earn it. You only need to remember it. And once you do, your intuition becomes clearer because the static of unworthiness is gone. When you know you are enough, you can finally hear the wisdom inside you. And when you follow that wisdom, life opens, opportunities appear, and your path becomes smoother. This is not theory, my love. This is practice. This is daily. Every morning, affirm your worth. Every time you face a decision, consult your inner guidance. Every night, thank yourself for listening, even if just a little bit more than yesterday. This is how trust grows. This is how life transforms. Have you ever noticed how different your body feels when you are filled with trust compared to when you are filled with doubt? Trust feels like warmth, expansion, ease. Doubt feels like contraction, tightness, restlessness. This is not accidental. This is energy. and energy is what creates the experiences of our lives. The law of attraction is always working. It does not sleep. It does not turn on and off. It is responding to you every moment, to your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs. And here is the secret many people overlook. When you trust, you are saying to the universe, "It is already mine." And the universe responds, "Yes, you are right." But when you doubt, when you constantly question, when you live in the vibration of fear, you are saying, "I don't have it yet." And the universe replies, "Yes, you are right." This is why trust is so powerful. Trust is not passive. Trust is creative. Trust is magnetic. It is the invisible bridge between your desire and its manifestation. It is the soil in which the seeds of your affirmations grow. Without trust, even the most beautiful affirmations fall on rocky ground. With trust, even the smallest thought can blossom into miracles. I want you to imagine right now that you are a magnet. Your energy is constantly sending out signals. When you trust, those signals say, "I believe in abundance. I believe in love. I believe in health. I believe in myself." And those signals draw matching experiences to you. It is like tuning a radio. When you tune to the frequency of joy, you don't receive sadness on that station. You receive joy. When you tune to the frequency of fear, you don't receive peace. You receive more fear. So the question is, what frequency are you tuning to today? Let me share a story, not about anyone else, but about the human heart. I have met countless people who worked so hard, struggled so long, tried so many methods, yet nothing seemed to change. And when we looked deeper, we discovered the missing piece: trust. They were affirming abundance, but underneath, they did not believe it was possible. They were asking for love, but inside, they doubted if they were lovable. And so the universe, like a perfect mirror, reflected that doubt back to them. The moment they began to shift, to truly trust, even just a little, the energy shifted, and the outer world began to follow. So I ask you now, what would it feel like if you trusted completely? If you trusted life to guide you? If you trusted your dreams to unfold at the right time? If you trusted that you are already worthy of receiving? Sit with that feeling. Imagine it in your body. Feel the relief. Feel the peace. Feel the quiet joy. That feeling is the vibration of already having. That feeling is the magnet that pulls your dreams to you. I want to take you through a short visualization. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. Picture one dream that matters to you right now. It might be love, health, prosperity, healing. See it clearly in your mind. Now imagine that this dream is already yours. Picture yourself living it. Feel the sensations in your body, the smile on your face, the calm in your heart, the lightness in your step. Say softly to yourself, "I trust this is mine. I trust the process of life. I trust that what I seek is seeking me." Stay with that feeling for a moment. Notice how your energy expands. Notice how trust feels like home. This is the practice. Each time your mind wants to go back to doubt, gently guide it here. Each time you want to say, "But it hasn't come yet," remind yourself, "I trust. I trust now. I trust always." The waiting becomes easier when you realize you are not really waiting. You are living in the energy of having. You are embodying your dream before it arrives. And when you embody it, life must respond. Remember this: trust is not blind faith. Trust is alignment. Trust is remembering that the same force that makes your heart beat, that heals your cuts, that grows the trees, that paints the sunsets, That force is guiding your life. It has not brought you this far to abandon you. It has not filled your heart with dreams to tease you. It has filled your heart with dreams to lead you, to call you into your fullest self. Some of you may be thinking, but Louise, what if I trust and nothing happens? And I want to tell you gently, something always happens. Every act of trust shifts your energy. Every time you choose trust over fear, you are planting a seed. You may not see the sprout tomorrow, but life is already working beneath the soil. The timing is not always ours to control, but the harvest is inevitable. The more you trust, the more you align, the more easily the fruits appear. And so here we are, at the final lesson of our journey together today. We have spoken about worthiness, about intuition, about letting go of control, about trusting life itself. And now we anchor it all with this truth. Trust is the magnet. Trust is the invitation. Trust is the door you open that allows abundance, love, and joy to walk right in. Say with me now, I trust myself. I trust life. I trust the timing of my dreams. Let it echo inside you. Let it soften you. Let it strengthen you. Because trust is both soft and strong. It is gentle enough to calm your fear and powerful enough to move mountains. As we close this teaching, I want you to hold this in your heart. You do not need to push. You do not need to chase. You do not need to force. You need only to trust. Trust your worth. Trust your inner voice. Trust the flow of life. And trust that what is meant for you is already finding its way to you. This, my dear, is the final key. And as you carry it with you, remember, life loves you. And when you trust, life will always show you just how deeply that love runs.